up, YouTube? It's your boy Jerome coming to you today with the review for Love and Hip Hop Hollywood Season 5, the reunion part number 2. So before I even start with the reunion, I want to talk about other Love and Hip Hop news. So I was going through, not Instagram, but I was going through Twitter today, and I saw the super trailer was released for Love and Hip Hop New York. I did watch the super trailer. I wasn't like 100% enthusiastic about the trailer. Like, I'm not really enthusiastic about reviewing Love and Hip Hop New York, but I am going to review it. And you know, we see a lot of people getting ready to go to jail. We see Juelz, he's dealing with his jail stuff. When I look at Juelz now, I cannot get past him not having them front teeth and seeing that picture all over Instagram last week. And we have Robin Penny's baby mama, Miracle, I think that's her name. She's facing some jail time. And you know, I was looking at Judy's wig, and when she was talking to Yandy, I'm like, do Judy and Pam go to the same person to get their fucking wigs done? Because Judy's wig had no part, no nothing in it. I'm like, oh my God, Judy, your wigs look just as horrible as Pam's wigs do. So, like I said, trailer's out. Go check it out. Love and Hip Hop starts next Monday. I will be reviewing it. I'm not quite sure how into it I'm gonna be, like I am with when it comes to Atlanta, Hollywood, and even when I started Miami and I had to finish it, I was still into Miami. And speaking of Miami, I did find out today that Love and Hip Hop Miami will be back in January 2nd, which is also a Wednesday. So it won't air concurrently with New York like it did last year, which I'm so excited about. Like, because I couldn't, you know, I'm so glad last year that when I started reviewing these shows, that New York had already been in the stages of airing, and I didn't just hop into it and start reviewing it. But I did start with Miami, and I'm like, I can't do New York on Monday, and you know, for a little bit, and then come back and have to do New York and Miami on the same day. So I'm happy that it's coming back, you know, on the 2nd, on a Wednesday. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, that Black Ink Crew Chicago will be back on January 2nd as well, because I do remember a few weeks ago or a few months ago that Ryan was on Twitter and he said that they'll be back in January. So looks like we're gonna have a Ratchet Wednesday with Black Ink Crew and Love and Hip Hop Miami. And then when like I said, I'm gonna be reviewing Love and Hip Hop New York, but I also think that I'm gonna pick up Vanderpump Rules, which comes on Bravo, which is a TV, you know, which is a show that follows Lisa Vanderpump's restaurant Sir. If you watch Vanderpump Rules, it is Love and Hip Hop, just with white kids, and that's all it is. So like I said, I'm thinking about doing Love and Hip Hop New York. Like I said, I am doing New York, and I'm thinking about picking up Vanderpump Rules on December 3rd. So we're just gonna see how it goes from there. All right, so the reunion, it picks up where it ended last week, was with Akbar and them dumb stable of hoes he got. So you know, we saw them all getting into it. And we saw last week when it ended that it ended with a little bit of a cliffhanger with somebody, you know, looking like they were charging the stage. And you saw, as Roxanne calls them, the crazy 88s. They, you know, was surrounding everybody that's on the floor. So then we do see that the person that they were surrounded, which I was right. I said it last week. I thought it was Moniece, which it was Moniece. But Moniece didn't try to charge the stage. What it was Moniece took her shoe off and she threw it up on the stage. And I was like, damn, Moniece. I'm like, I wish the security did not come in when they did, because I wanted Moniece to either hit Akbar, Snoopy, or the Prune. I wanted her to hit one of them three. Like, I swear to God. And then Akbar gonna sit down there and tell Moniece not to pass out. I'm like, nigga, you don't pass out. Like, shut the fuck up. So, then we get the dumb ass stable of motherfucking hoes. So Nina asked the question, you know, since Akbar says he feels like he picks up girls who, I guess, you know, are down and have low, basically these bitches got low self-esteem, you know, don't feel good about themselves, and they're broken. So Nina asked him, you know, she asked Alejandra the Prune, do you feel broken? And that dumb bitch says, you know, when she came to LA, yeah, she felt broken and she felt like Akbar lifted her up. And I'm like, God damn, you a dumbass bitch. Like, really? And then she asked Snoopy the same question, and Snoopy said the same thing. I'm like, what kind of dumbass broads are y'all? Like, y'all bitches are stupid for real to think that this man lifted you up and all this stuff. And then, Akbar talking about how God is using him. I'm like, nigga, do not use God in that context with your fuck shit. Then, like, what? They are dumb. And Snoopy talking about how Akbar's not a womanizer, he's not this and he's not that. Bitch, yes the fuck he is. He's all that and more. And he's a fuck nigga on top of that. Like, I swear those bitches look stupid. And I swear those are the type of bitches that dudes like him won't. Like, gullible ass, stupid ass bitches. Because that's exactly what they are. I'm sorry to call them, bitches, but that's how when I look at those two, I think of them as dumbass bitches, and I'm sorry. So, then Bridget asked him the question of, because Nina asked Akbar, did he love Tiara? He said no. And then Bridget was like, well, if you didn't love her, why would you do all the stuff that you did to her, bringing her around these girls who didn't have anything good for her? And I was with Bridget. And then he gonna flip the script and talking about when Bridget was out there doing her dirt, why come Bridget didn't come be with him? I'm like, nigga, because Bridget got more sense than that to stoop to that level of you with your harem of hoes. Like, no, absolutely not. So then, Tiara tells Akbar that he basically used her, which he did, and I'm gonna agree with that. Akbar used Tiara to get on this show and to try to make a name for himself. Like, so absolutely 100% he did use her. And, then we move over to the sex tape. So, when it comes down to the sex tape, Nina asked Tiara how did she feel. And she says initially she wanted to give Akbar the benefit of the doubt. And then, Nina asked Akbar about the lawsuit. And he says that he's a victim too. I'm like, on what planet are you a victim? Like, he's talking about because his thing was out there. And I'm like, nigga, you or one of them dumb bitches put your dick out there. Like, Tiara's the one that had your seed all over her face. So Tiara is the victim. Partially. I'm going to say partially that she's the victim. So, oh God. So then we talk about how Alejandra the Prune was at the press conference and she said that she was the one who leaked the sex tape. Now this bitch is backpedaling and pussy popping. And, she's talking about how it was Tiara who, was trying to accuse Akbar of something that he didn't do. And then she says that, she saw Tiara leak the sex tape. And I'm like, but if you saw her leak the sex tape, that doesn't make a lot of sense for you to sit there and say that you leaked it when you saw her do it. Like, make that add up to me, because it doesn't add up whatsoever. Because it sounds ridiculously stupid as fuck that you gonna admit to something, but you saw the bitch do it herself. And I don't mean to call Tiara a bitch, but like, it makes no sense. So then, Tiara and the Prune start going at it with each other. And, Nina asked Brooke a question. She said, she asked Brooke, what did she think of Akbar when she first met him? And Brooke said she thought he was charming. And then Tiara asked Brooke, well, didn't you tell me that he tried to show the sex tape to one of your homegirls? And, Brooke was like, but that's not the question that she asked me. And then, Tiara kept asking her. She said, we already talked about that. So I'm guessing, in a sense, Tiara saying, Brooke was agreeing with what Tiara said. And then, the Prune gets into it with Tiara once again. And I'm like, why are you arguing with her? And then this dumbass bitch gonna sit there and say that, because Nina asked her, would she take a case for him? And she said yes. And I'm like, what? Like, you would take a case for him? And then, Nina asked him, would he do the same? He said, yeah, he'll do the same. I'm like, y'all are some dumbass motherfuckers. Like, the only person in this world that I would, there are two people in this world that I would have taken a case for, my mama and my grandma. Those would be the only two people that I would have took a case for. But they would have never done anything to put themselves in that position. So I would have never had to worry about that. But for them to sit there and say that they would take a case for them. So you're going to take a murder rap for somebody that you didn't do? Like, dumb as fuck. And during the process of this argument that, Tiara was having with the Prune, she did leave the stage, but we did get Tiara to come back to the stage. And, so when Tiara came back to the stage, we moved over to K. Michelle and Akbar on this live. So, K Michelle says that she didn't know it was that deep and that serious between, Tierra and Akbar. And then, she says that, she's never wanted to be a part of Akbar's harem of hoes. All she wanted is a chocolate one, aka Snoopy. And, how she just, how Snoopy is her type. I'm like, okay, K Michelle, if that's your type, I feel, I'm not going to judge you, but she wouldn't be my pick. Like she told Tierra wouldn't be her pick. Well, she wouldn't be nobody else's pick. Like, whatever. So then, K Michelle basically apologized to Tierra. She's like, we from Memphis. Like, it ain't got to be no on site with me. She's like, because you from Memphis, I'm from Memphis, you from Detroit. We know each other fight. So at this point, let's dead it and let's move forward from it. So then Tierra does accept her apology, which I mean I like that. Like it's with the whole K Michelle and Tierra thing, that one really all that so deep, and it just really went that deep. Akbar came into K Michelle's live. It's not like K Michelle was doing a live with Akbar there, so it shouldn't have been that big of a deal. Okay, so next we move over to Brooke and all of her messiness. So Nina asked Brooke the question, did she regret anything? And she says that the only thing that she regrets is she wasn't there to try to hurt anyone's feelings. That just wasn't her thing. And, we mentioned Tierra and the Akbar thing once again. And, Bridget interjects this time and she was like, but, Tierra, when we were out there in London, when K Michelle had did the live with Akbar, we were all in the room, in that house, in that little wherever they were staying at together. They were all ready to go to war for Tierra behind K Michelle, but they just didn't know the whole logistics of everything that was going on with Tierra and Akbar. And then we move over. Nina moves and asks, since we're on the subject of London, she's like, Brooke, she asked a question about why Brooke slighted Nikki about the whole never have I ever slept with Solo Lucci thing. So Brooke says the reason why she did that is because when Brooke said never have I ever had a threesome, everybody kind of started to look at her. So that was the reason why she did what she did to Nikki. And I'm like, that's not a logical reason, but whatever, because there were multiple other girls there, so it didn't necessarily mean that you had a threesome with somebody. So I don't know why you took so much offense to that, but if that's what Brooke wants to stick with, we're gonna let Brooke have that. Like, I really don't give a fuck. So then Nikki says that Tierra was there when this so-called threesome and Solo Lucci thing happened, and Nikki is still saying it didn't happen. But Solo Lucci is saying it absolutely 100% happened. And Nikki's like, Solo, you never put your dick inside of me, so stop lying. And Solo Lucci's like, yes, I did. And then, Nikki tries to get Tierra to corroborate what she's saying, but Tierra didn't corroborate with what Nikki was saying. And, Solo basically tells Nikki that she's lying, that she's still fucking with him. And Nikki was like, I haven't talked to you in a while, so you're lying. And, Nina started to be like, is this a game of semantics with y'all? Like, what the fuck is going on here? And I was with Nina like, what the fuck is going on here? But again, Nikki says it's a lie. Solo says she's lying. So then we move over to Amber Diamond, Sean Love, Bridget, and Brooke. And, so when it came down to when it came down to it, Brooke asked Amber Diamond, is your wig intact this time? She said, yeah, my wig is intact this time. So Sean tells us the reason why she snatched Amber Diamond's wig off her head is because she knew her wig was loose, and hers wasn't loose, and she couldn't really reach her shoes because she's an old bitch. So she didn't want to. So she just knew that bitch's wig was loose. So I took the bitch's wig and I hit her. And again, the fact that she keeps calling her daughter a bitch, like you couldn't say my child's wig was. I knew my child's wig was loose, so I just grabbed my child's wig and we went to town at it. So Brooke says that they were just having fun, and Bridget was like, but it was a little petty at the same time, and Brooke was like, but she shouldn't have been, in the grand scheme of things, they shouldn't have been texting each other, which I agree with that. They shouldn't have been having any kind of communication with one another. And then Amber says that if she had Marcus once before, and if she wanted Marcus, she could have him again. I'm like, okay, if you say so. And then Marcus, and then Bridget was like, why are we not going after him instead of going after her? But then Marcus chimes in and said there was nothing between he and Amber, which I definitely believe that. So that was the end of that little scene. All right, so next we move over to Nina asking a question about Brooke wearing her wedding ring and that engagement ring and the wedding. So she asked her why did she do the wedding, and Brooke was talking about how she was tired of the in between that's between her and Marcus, and how he's idle. And then she asked her, well, why did you have the ring? Why were you wearing the ring? And she was like, because he showed it to my mom in Houston, and she's not gonna play with him. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Like, none of Brooke's answers when it came down to this segment made a whole lot of sense to me, because I'm like, none of that makes sense. Like, that's like, I can't even explain it. It just made no sense to me. So she does tell us that her past relationship was much similar to Akbar's situation, and that with this one, that's why she was, people asked her the question of why was she okay with letting Marcus sow his royal oats. So she says, and she was like, with that one, she had to get out of the mindset that she was in with her past relationship. So that was the reason why she did that. And then too, she wouldn't give him no pussy. So he's a man. So, again, none of that makes sense. Like I said, none of that shit makes sense. So then, Nina asked them about the whole pen being dropped on Mark, the pen being dropped to Booby about where Marcus was. And, basically they didn't really give a shit about Brooke nor Marcus. Oh shit, excuse me. Brooke nor Marcus really 100% gave a shit about Paris dropping that pen. And then Paris said she had to drop the pen. I'm like, no, the fuck you didn't have to drop that pen. You just been a messy bitch, and that's all it was with that one. So then, Marcus says he's not worried about Booby, which I don't expect him to be worried about him. And then Brooke is like, she was trying to keep Booby in the friend zone, but that didn't quite work out. And then, Paris is talking about how Booby feels that when Brooke is going through her stuff with Marcus, that she calls him, and Brooke was like, that's not the case. Booby finds stuff out, and then Booby comes to me and asks me why come I didn't come to him. So he gets upset because she didn't come to him. And then Nina asked Brooke how does she feel about Booby saying that Marcus keeps her locked up and everything. She's like, well, he don't keep me locked up because I've gotten into so much shit this season, so he does not keep me locked up. And Nina asked Marcus how he feels about Booby, if he thinks that he's in love with Brooke. Basically, Marcus don't really give one flying fuck damn shit about if Booby's in love with her, because Marcus got Brooke, air quotes, Marcus got Brooke and Booby don't. Alright, so next we got K. Michelle and Paris. They are both on the stage by themselves. They've cleared the stage out so that they can kind of squash the beef with one another. So then they replay everything, and Nina asks K. Michelle if she's still pursuing the person charged against Paris. She says yes. And then Paris says the bitches I know from Memphis don't press charges. And K. Michelle said, well, the bitches I know don't steal from people either. So then they start going back and forth with one another. And K. Michelle's basically saying, I'm dealing with you accordingly, which, I mean, I guess I can see that. K. Michelle has a lot to lose, whereas Paris doesn't have nearly as much to lose as K. Michelle. So for K. Michelle to actually want to sit there and fight her, I agree with it. Like, don't sit there and fight the bitch. Like, let the courts fight her for you, because K. Michelle has her restaurant, she got her Jack Daniels, her music. So K. Michelle has a lot to lose. So I'm glad that K. Michelle is not trying to fight Paris. Like, kudos to her. And K. Michelle is talking about that whole interaction where Paris threw the drink in her face, that K. Michelle actually had just got out of the hospital 2 days before that, and she only weighed like 105 pounds. And how when she went there to meet with Paris, she didn't go there to fight Paris. She just went there to meet with Paris. And she's talking about how Paris used to be on social media, and Paris didn't work for nobody. And how she paid her bills, and how Paris stayed with her, and that if she really wanted to, she could have carried Paris on her taxes if she wanted to. So then, they start to screaming back and forth with each other, because K. Michelle was like, but you stole from me, didn't you? You stole from me, didn't you? And, she gets mad, and she gets up and leaves the stage. And, Paris, when she's on the stage by herself, she's like, I needed that to happen to me, because now I see what kind of person K Michelle is, and you know she regrets pushing that you know Uber thing, and she was like, you know, for the past 3 years it's been $50, but then you know after we got cool, and then you know that scene that they did, it came up to $300, and she was like, if that was the case, after we got cool again, she could have said something to me about it. Now here's my thing though, when it comes down to this whole Uber thing, they made up earlier in the season, but then you know Paris kept and you know Paris got mad, but you were the one that kept bringing it up over and over, so it wasn't really K Michelle, it was you that kept bringing this shit up. So I'm glad that we are done with this K Michelle Paris Uber shit. Like I'm done with that. I was done with that throughout the whole season, because like I said, mainly that was Paris' storyline was K Michelle and this fucking Uber shit. Like now can we move the fuck on, please? All right, so now the last thing that I want to talk about, because it's kind of, it wasn't the end of the episode, but you know it was the end of the segments that they talked about in the reunion. So we move over to Moniece and Princess. So they showed the clips of those two getting into it this season, when they got into it at the fashion show and when they got into it at Clutch and Pearls and Little Lyrica's wedding. So you know Moniece, she's now apologetic because you know she knew she was wrong. You know, I guess her meds are working better for her now, because she's able to admit that she's wrong, and she apologized to both Princess and to Ray J, you know, for putting their daughter in danger. And Princess accepts her apology, and then Princess apologizes to Moniece about, you know, talking about her son, which I thought it was big of both Princess and Moniece to apologize to one another. I really did like that. And you know, Princess is like, you know, the only reason why I said anything about your son is because you threw a drink at me. And I'm like, but that's really stupid as fuck. So you talk about this girl's son, her parenting at her son, because the bitch threw a drink at you. Like, the bitch threw a drink at you, throw your hands at the bitch. Like, why bring up her parenting? But they were able to move forward. And, you know, Princess gets up to go give Moniece a hug. But when she hopped up, the audience, fake audience at that, because when I was watching that, I'm like, wait a minute. That's Roxanne, as a lot of people know her, Forest Rocks or It's Rocks. I'm like, that is Roxanne. And I'm like, wait a minute. This is when Roxanne went to the Atlanta reunion. Like, Mona is just reusing footage, because I saw Roxanne so much throughout the reunion. And I'm like, Roxanne did not go to the reunion, because she would have said something by now, but she didn't go to the reunion. So Moniece and Princess, they make up with each other. And, you know, then Nina asked them, you know, Princess, how are things right now between she and Brandy and Sonya and her poodle? And she says, you know, now that she has Melody, things have gotten better between them, and that actually Sonya and her poodle were backstage with baby Melody. So, you know, all's well that ends well. So then we have, I'm just going to wrap it up. So K Michelle performed the song. I didn't really get the name of the song. I did like the song. And, you know, they just showed some of the funniest moments of the season, and that was it. So now we are going to move over to New York starting next week. Like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys on Wednesday for Greenleaf.